We're diving into one of the most profound, unsettling ideas from the ancient Gnostics. The final deception. The one that might just be waiting for all of us after death. So, picture this. The moment your body stops, your consciousness, the you that's been driving this thing, is suddenly free, unbound. But you're just floating, totally disoriented, completely vulnerable. There's nothing to hold on to. No up, no down. Just you in a vast darkness. And right then, in all that confusion, something appears right in front of you. A tunnel of brilliant white light. And wow, it feels warm, it's magnetic, it's pulling you in, promising peace, promising home. Every single instinct is screaming, go towards the light. But what if that instinct is dead wrong? Because according to these ancient texts, following that light means you've just walked into the perfect trap, the most meticulously designed trap in all of existence, a system engineered by entities known as the Archons, the cosmic rulers of this material world. Let's be very clear, this tunnel of white light, it's not some natural gateway to the afterlife. No way. The Gnostics said it's a piece of architecture. Think of it like a sophisticated piece of spiritual technology with only one purpose: to catch souls. And the design is brutally effective. Why? Because it preys on a basic human tendency. When we're panicked, when we're confused, what do? We look for the easiest, most obvious way out. The Archons know this, so they don't hide the trap. They put it right there, front and center, an undeniable, beckoning solution. And this is where you have to know the difference. The false light, the trap, it has a pull. It's magnetic. It's advertising itself, screaming, salvation here. But the true light, the light of the source, what the Gnostics called the monad, it's completely different. It doesn't pull you anywhere. It's just still. It's everywhere, all at once. A quiet presence that feels like you, like your truest self. So listen up, because this is the key. That coercive pull, that feeling of being dragged somewhere, that is the dead giveaway. Truth doesn't need to force you. It doesn't need to seduce you. It just is. That magnetic feeling, that's the signature. The calling card of an artificial trap designed to override your free will. So what happens if you go in? Well, you're not going to heaven, not even close. You arrive at what you could call a reincarnation processing center. Yeah, you heard that right, an astral factory designed for memory erasure and soul recycling. Once you're inside, a 4-step process kicks off. First, the life review. They selectively show you every mistake you ever made, cranking up the shame and guilt until you feel totally incomplete. Then, they manipulate that guilt. Next comes the offer. They come to you looking like angels, saying you can go back, you can fix this. And the moment you agree, the moment you give consent, your memory is wiped completely. And what's the point of this whole elaborate show? To trick you, to get you to volunteer to do it all over again. They send you back to what is, for all intents and purposes, a soul farm, a system built to harvest our energy. And that white light tunnel, that's just the conveyor belt. But there is an exit. There's a way out, a secret that was only passed down to the highest Gnostic initiates. And the secret is this: the true exit is never the obvious one. It is not straight ahead. See, the Archons have a critical weakness. Their trap, this whole light show, it's just a projection, and it's only projected right in front of you. The whole system depends on you staring straight ahead, mesmerized. It's like a video game. They can't render the entire world at once. Your peripheral vision, that's their blind spot. That's where the illusion glitches. So this is the act of rebellion. You just turn your head, look left. You know, there's a reason the left-hand path was made out to be evil. It was the unapproved route, the one the system couldn't control. So by looking left, you're making a statement, a declaration of sovereignty. You are tearing up their script and looking where they told you not to. Now, when you first look left, it's going to look terrifying, like a pure black void, absolute nothingness. Every instinct will scream, danger, that's oblivion. But you have to hold your gaze, because you'll realize it's not empty. It's the pleroma, the fullness. It's a light so total, so complete, that it has no form, no contrast. It's everything. And this gives a whole new spin on that old idea of the narrow gate, doesn't it? It's not narrow because it's hard to get through. It's narrow because it's so quiet, so subtle. It's hidden in plain sight, and almost nobody even thinks to look for it. Not when there's a giant, flashy superhighway right in front of their face. Okay, this is the most important part. You absolutely cannot wait until you die to figure this out. In that moment, in that confusion, you won't be thinking. You'll be running on instinct, on pure conditioning. So you have to build a new reflex, and you have to start right now. And here's how you do it. A simple exercise. Every single night before you fall asleep, just visualize it. Picture that tempting white light tunnel right in front of you. Really feel its magnetic pull. Acknowledge the urge to go forward, and then, consciously, deliberately, turn your attention to the left. Look into that so-called void, and just rest in it. Get comfortable with the feeling until you realize that emptiness isn't a threat at all. It's just pure, quiet presence. And you can practice this every day too. Think of it as a symbolic act. When everyone around you is rushing towards the next big, shiny thing, when all the pressure is on you to follow that one well-lit path, just practice looking left. Practice turning your attention to the quiet options. You're basically training your soul to trust the path that doesn't need a billboard. Because by making that choice, by building that new reflex, your soul doesn't get processed. It's that simple. There's no life review, no guilt trip, no negotiation. You just bypass the whole system. You're literally not on a frequency they can even detect anymore. You go straight back to the source, a sovereign being returning home on your own terms. So we're left with this incredibly powerful idea. The real exit, the true way home, it doesn't advertise. It doesn't look like a gate. It doesn't look like anything at all. It looks like nothing. And maybe, just maybe, the only ones who truly find their way home are the ones who learn to trust that quiet, profound nothing more than the loud, bright, shiny something.